I'm Maija. I'm 26 years old. I'm from Finland, though I currently live in Amsterdam. And I got sick with CFS, ME, or chronic fatigue syndrome, or myalgic encephalomyelitis, in the year 2000. I was only 15 at the time. And well, I don't really like the term chronic fatigue because the illness is so much more than that. Like my first symptom was fever, and I still have that fever 10 years later. And I've had many neurological symptoms, I have immune symptoms, and there are many different kinds of symptoms. And CFS-ME is really quite similar to MS, even though there's an even wider range of different symptoms. And it can be progressive, and it can even be deadly, or fortunately not very often, but sometimes. And in my case, my illness was progressive, and I was really quite hopeless because I was told there was nothing doctors could do for me, and for a while I did believe them, and doctors say things as, well, we can't treat your symptoms, but we can treat the illness. And I was really losing hope because my condition was getting much worse. I was quickly losing the ability to walk in 2006, and I thought I would be in wheelchair soon, and I had a severe brain fog. Really, it was more like dementia. I used to read a lot, and then suddenly, well, on my good days I would read magazines. On my bad days I would read like catalogs, just to keep myself occupied. But then I heard of LDN, and of course, that first doctors wouldn't want to prescribe it for me because they had never heard of it. But I met my doctor, and he was very open-minded. He's a pulmonologist, but he specializes in sleep disorders, and he knows about endorphins, and he was immediately interviewed, and he prescribed it for me in March 2007, and even the next day I already felt a lot better, and I've had improvement in many different symptoms, like my chronic fever, chronic urticaria, many different kinds of symptoms. And it also stopped my illness progression, which is great because, well, they're not like people get treatments like antidepressants and stimulants and stuff for CFS-ME. Well, it's not really going to affect the illness progress, is it? But I no longer have illness progression, and I'm a lot better in many ways. And because many people do have progressive CFS-ME, LDN is quite a good treatment because most treatments won't affect the progression. And it can also treat the symptoms that are otherwise quite difficult to treat, like fever and other immune system symptoms and neurological symptoms. And well, one important point is that many people with CFS-ME, they tolerate medications very poorly. And well, some people can tolerate LDN, but it's often a lot better tolerated than things like antidepressants and anticonvulsants. And well, I'm far from cured, but in my case, the LDN has made a major difference in quality of life, because, well, everyone who has had fatigue knows that if you can't do anything, your life sucks pretty much. And well, now I'm able to do things again, and well, I was a writer, well, I still am, but for a long time it looked like I wouldn't be writing again. I was working on a book about treatments for CFS-ME, but I wasn't sure I could finish that book because I was so sick. But with LDN, I have been able to achieve many things, many dreams, like I was able to start a career as a translator and copywriter. I was able to get 2 textbooks published, including my CFS-ME and fibromyalgia book. And I got married. I moved to the Netherlands, which has been a long time dream for me. I recently signed a deal for my novel, which is also about disability, and well, it's like, well, my life really sucked for a while, but it's great now thanks to LDN, and this sounds like a stupid inspirational story, whatever, but that's how it is. And I maintain this Finnish forum about CFS-ME, and we, besides me, there has been 12 people who have tried LDN, and the experiences have been quite positive too. Six people have had a very positive experience, like a life transforming experience as I had, and 3 people have had a fairly positive experience, and well, one only recently started it, so I don't know much about it yet, and 3 had a negative experience. But the experiences, some people have had very quick relief, like one woman had 30 minutes after taking the first pill, it was like she was a different person, and she's about 70% better now. And one important thing is that people have noticed that LDN helps many symptoms that are difficult to treat, like, as I said, fever, but it can also help allergies and food intolerances, which are very common in CFS-ME. Someone said that it has helped her restless legs, and it can help oversensitivity of senses, like photophobia and well, noise sensitivity, which are very common in CFS-ME and can be very troublesome. There was this one woman who had to wear sunglasses and earplugs all the time, and now she never wears them anymore thanks to LDN. But well, unfortunately, there have been some negative effects too. Like some people have had severe headaches. Some have said that they feel like they're hungover, and one had a worsening of muscle and joint pain. Some had dizziness. Interestingly, one person on my forum and someone else I know who has CFS-ME have noticed that their sleep is getting too deep, which is quite a problem. Like they can't really wake up. And there was one who had acid reflux, and I've heard of someone else who had acid reflux from LDN. And of course it could be that they are on too high or perhaps even too low doses. But of course, when people have a bad experience, it's often hard to convince them, maybe you should try it again with a different dose, because like one person in my forum, well, she was convinced that well, all drugs are evil, but she was willing to try LDN, but now she had a bad experience and now she thinks it's dangerous, which is very unfortunate. And that's why we need more research, and we need to find out how we can, like if there's something we can do to prevent those side effects. We need to find solutions besides just spreading awareness. And my doctor in Finland, he's been prescribing LDN for CFS-ME and fibromyalgia for quite a few patients, even though I was the first one. And he thinks it's the best treatment for CFS-ME, even though he's also using many more medications. I'm using quite a few medications myself, like I use piracetam, which is for cognitive problems, it helps a lot. And I use baclofen. Many people with MS probably know it is a muscle relaxant, but I use it mostly for sleep. And I take a very low dose of hydrocortisone and some other medications. And they are in general for CFS-ME and many other illnesses. There are many treatments that are very helpful, but doctors just don't know about them. And we really need to do something to bring up awareness of LDN and of these other treatments as well. And well, I hope I have done my part, because this is my book about CFS-ME and fibromyalgia treatments. So I really hope that people would try LDN instead of the highly toxic drugs, which likely won't cure them anyway. Thank you.